Hi everybody, my name is Jamie and welcome to my channel, The Minimalist Mom, where I share my own personal stories, product reviews, and pretty much any topic I feel is important. Today I'm sharing one of my own personal stories on how I never wanted a baby until I had one. Growing up, I never envisioned having a child for myself, nor was I ever the type of young child that wanted to play with dolls, Barbies, or anything of that nature. In fact, my mom recently told me when I was around 6 or 7 years old, I made a statement that I never wanted to have kids. And despite all of that, my friends always kept telling me, Jamie, you would be such a good mom. And I didn't understand what the heck they saw in me. So I recently asked one of my best friends, what is it about me that made you say I would be such a great mom? Because from what I know, everyone knew I didn't like kids. And she flat out said, because you're anal. You're such a perfectionist and you always do everything by the book in the right way. And that's true. Probably because I'm a Virgo. She said her only concern was the crying part. She knew how I felt about loud noises and background noises and things like that. Some people think not wanting a baby is selfish, and that's totally fine if that's their perspective. For me, I just knew myself. I would sometimes envision what it would be like to have a child, and none of it sounded appealing to me. Between my sister having 2 kids and all of my friends having multiple kids, just the day-to-day tasks like packing up a diaper bag, putting them in the car seat, taking them out, pushing the stroller. And the 2 most important reasons why I never wanted a child: financial. I never wanted to struggle the way that I saw people around me struggle, and I didn't want to have any resentment towards the child. I don't know if you know anybody who ever felt like they weren't good enough in their family. You can feel it as a kid that your parents didn't want you. And I never wanted a child to feel that way because it's not their fault that they're here. It's the parents' responsibility to make sure that they fulfill that part of their child, to always make them feel accepted and wanted and loved and desired. I also wanted to dedicate 100% of my time to the child, which means I didn't want to be a college student full-time and juggle the task of being in college and all that comes with it, and then taking care of a child and all that comes with that. I also like to live my life on my terms, meaning get up and go whenever I want to, come home whenever I want, and sleeping in. I just love to sleep in, and everyone I know that has a baby, they're up at the crack of dawn and they have to take care of their kid and tend to their needs. I say all of that only to say this: everything I never thought I wanted is exactly all that I needed. Having my son changed my entire life. I could not ask for a better gift. And if it wasn't for my son, I wouldn't have even started this YouTube channel. He gave me the inspiration that I needed to start something. And I never thought in a million years I would be on here sharing my own personal pregnancy stories, going over baby products, sharing just different information that I found along the way of being a new parent. Okay, so let me get to the good stuff. How I became open-minded to even having a child. So several years ago, me and my boyfriend were either driving to California from Las Vegas or to Las Vegas from California. I can't really remember. But anyway, we were listening to music and that song, Let Me, by the artist Zayn came on. And not only do I like the song, but I really love the name. And we were just having casual conversation and I just said, oh, I love the name Zayn. If I ever have a baby, I would want to name him Zayn. So fast forward about a year or so, I had a very vivid dream. I had a son, his name was Zayn. My boyfriend was the father, and he held him up in the air like this and brought him down to kiss him. And I never forgot that dream. I didn't necessarily think I was gonna get pregnant at that time, but it was just so vivid. I literally can relive it like it was yesterday. Dreams really do become a reality because that's exactly what happened to me. So I started to get this feeling that I was pregnant. I went to the 99-cent store. I bought a whole bunch of pregnancy tests. I went to my best friend's house and I took a test. This was February 16th of 2021. Well, the test was positive. I was in absolute disbelief. I was so excited, scared, overwhelmed, and I also had to break the news to my boyfriend, and I didn't know what his reaction was gonna be. So after breaking the news to my boyfriend, calling my other best friend on FaceTime, and pretty much letting the whole world know, I started to do the proper steps needed in order to have a baby. Set up an OBGYN and did all of those things. So now we fast forward a couple months and my OBGYN asks me if I want to know the sex of my baby. And of course I did, because I had the dream, so I wanted to see if it was a boy to confirm. And it was. And of course my boyfriend was the father. And then take a wild guess what his name was gonna be. Zane. So everything I had in that vivid dream came true. So despite all of these factual beliefs that I had, that I never wanted a kid, I wouldn't be a good mom, I love to have my alone time, I knew at that moment that my son was made just for me. But what scared me the most was that I hated being pregnant. I actually made a video on it titled Why I Hated Being Pregnant. If you're interested in watching, you can click the link. I wasn't one of those girls that were obsessed with her pregnant belly, nor did I feel the love for the baby the way that everybody spoke of. But the second, I mean the second, Zane was born, there was an explosion of love that I cannot even explain in words. I'll share a raw clip of my delivery in just a second, but there's another crazy part to my pregnancy journey. So at around 37 weeks, I was induced. My labor lasted about 15 hours. My friends were throwing around different times they claimed the baby would be born. The final guess was 3:33 p.m. I told my doctor, I have to have the baby at 3:33 p.m. because my best friend said so. And she made like a joke like, okay, no pressure on me or anything. And she explained to me that when you're a first time mom, sometimes a process lasts way longer than what I wanted. Well, I refused to push for that long. The clock turned 3:33 and out came the baby. If you listen to this raw footage, you can hear me say, it's 3:33. It's 3:33, oh my God.
Is it really?
The only downfall in this whole thing was that the birth time that they referenced was going off of the clock that was behind me. So it ended up being 3:31. But according to the clock that was in front of me that I was shooting for, it was 3:33. It was pretty dang close. So after baby Zane came out, they put him directly on my chest, and that's when an explosion of love surfaced. Literally, it was so overwhelming. I pretty much cried the entire time. And while Zane was laying on my chest, I looked down and was kind of thinking to myself, so now what? Like, what am I supposed to do with it? But yeah, the point of this video was I just kind of wanted to share my experience in my pregnancy journey on how I went from being anti-baby to absolutely obsessed with my baby, and now I can't even imagine life without him. I also wanted to provide other women with some kind of relief in knowing that they are not alone in admitting that they never wanted to have a baby until they had one, or that you never made a connection with your child until he or she was here. Till next time, bye.